There we go. Hey everyone, hope you guys are all having a great day today. My computer literally shut down like 5 minutes before I was supposed to stream with you guys, so I don't even know if my computer is going to hold up through this stream. It keeps on getting worse, and it's like really good, then it's really bad, so it's having its mood swings here, so I've determined that I'm just going to go forward and buy a new computer. It'll take about 30 days. I think I'll be able to survive off this computer until then, but the computer I get will have all the bells and whistles and everything in the world I could possibly imagine. So I'm hoping that that's enough here. I also bought one last little thing just in case it's something going on with my power supply or something like that. So I'm working my way through it. Hopefully you guys are all having a good day here. Bitcoin itself had this little bit of a bump. We talked about this bump happening because of the CPI data coming out tomorrow. And guess what? It came to fruition. Right now we're probably about to test out some resistance in the next few hours, I would say, next 10 to 12 hours. We're looking at, no, not even, probably some 8 hours or so, and we'll be talking about that. I have a whole host of just things I want to talk about here today. A brief recap of inflation, just in case some of you guys are just joining in for the first time somehow. Talking about some of the tariffs with Ontario, Canada here. Some general news from CNBC. A couple of videos from CNBC actually talking about Tom Lee's Fund Chat guy. He's great. He talks about what's going on in the market right now. CPI preview, and then we're going to be looking at President Trump talking about some stuff here today because Trump actually came out, did some talking, and when he talks about the economy or to the business community, I do think it's important that we listen, even if it's only for like 6 minutes or so, probably not even that long. It's important to listen to what he has to say because what he says is actually moving the markets, right? Next up, I plan to talk about the Ukraine ceasefire announcement that came about, and then finally, we're just going to be talking a little bit more about the tariffs with Trump and Canada here because there is going to be a lot of stuff going on here, which will be great. But man, it's just kind of a wild ride. And then we're just going to finish off with some of the House news as far as them finally getting a bill passed and it moving up to, let's just say, I guess this is the Senate, but I don't know what's about to happen in the Senate because I think we're going to move some stuff around. But anyway, guys, happy to see all of you guys here. Hey, Jamrock, happy to see my man. Hey, Digital K. If you want to buy right now, you definitely can. I'll be talking about that in the next few minutes. But basically, I bought some yesterday. I bought the dip. I bought the crash. However, CPI can really make or break the market right now, so it's not so much should you buy, it's like are you willing to take the gamble to buy, because if CPI or inflation data is bad tomorrow, all that really means is that you guys are going to be holding that position for a lot longer than you think you are, or maybe you can have a stop loss at like some of these support levels we'll talk about now. Okay. And hey Pablo, happy to see you guys. And hey, Beal, happy to see you as well. Oh, if my voice is messing up, let me know. I just had to change some stuff up with my my software here, which is a little bit different. I'm not used to it at all. So if you hear something funky, let me know. I think I'm looking at my monitor to make sure that, like, the background sounds of my fans and stuff aren't going. All right, so let me put this back down for now. Bitcoin not doing so bad. You see the little bit of a bounce that we had. We're still overall in this downtrend that we've been talking about, since like March 2nd. Of course, still in this larger downtrend that we've been talking about for a while. But let me actually get rid of this. This is from, I think, earlier yesterday. Right now, what we're really concerned about is can we break above this level of resistance around 84,000 and then start moving higher. Typically, when you look at a 4-hour chart like this, you don't usually see us just go sky high. Usually what ends up happening, and you guys know this, we typically will just buzz around for a little bit and then make that higher move, and then we have that breakout. Everybody looks really happy. We have the golden cross between the 20 and the 50. Then all of a sudden we have an opportunity to break back above the 200, and then from there we might be able to see back above 90,000 bucks. That is a huge ask right now because of all the news kind of coming around, but we've had a day of, I would say, decent news coming across. Right now, let me put this back over here very fast. And hey, her, I'm happy to see my man. Yeah, the voice needs mastering. I don't know what's going on with it. They just had to reset everything, so I'm not entirely sure what happened here with the voice. Maybe I can put it down a little bit more like this, the threshold for the gate. But I'm not entirely sure. There also is just a fan right next to this, which there wasn't before. But I don't think, maybe the mic monitor needs to be turned off a little bit more. Could be a little bit like that. Who knows? But if the voice thing is interesting or whatever, just let me know. I don't really care too much, to be honest. My concern is more about my computer than anything else. I think when I was a smaller YouTuber, I used to care about everything like that. Now I'm just like, fuck it. Today we got a live cat drop or false breakout or a bear trap. Bitcoin market is going back up. But I say that's a lot of different things right there. But what do you call it? Hey, Haram. So right now, again, in the scheme of things, as we talked about yesterday, if you want to have like a bullish mentality here, you do have a reason for it, right? We talked about how usually when Bitcoin hits some of these Fibonacci levels, it's normal for us to have a pretty significant pullback. We've had these pullbacks before, but what really made this pullback so extreme, I think, was how fast it kind of happened within these like couple weeks here. But again, if you wanted to like go back in time a little bit from the highs of this one over here, that's about an 18% drop in about 2 weeks time. This one over here was about a 30% drop in about 2 weeks time. I think this one was what do we say it was, 8 days? This one was probably 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8, 9 days. So similar time frames here. So we've been here before. I know a lot of you guys don't look at the markets day by day, like every single day, and that's perfectly fine. Hold on, let me give Loki a treat here. He's asking for it. Loki, you want a treat? Yep. There you go. Yum. But yeah, so it's not something we haven't seen before, and I think that's the big point in all this. We've been here before. We've ridden this roller coaster, and usually I enjoy buying these dips, and that's why I said I made a video. I'm buying this dip. We'll see what happens with it. I may lose some money. I may make some money, but I'm assuming I will make some money if I buy the dip, right? But my strategy isn't to buy until right now. My strategy was basically to hold for about a month or two and see where we are, and then I'll be happy if we're like back in the 90s or $100,000 range. I'll be selling off around there, and of course, if Bitcoin goes higher, it's like, you know, all-time highs and stuff like that. I still have crypto been dollar cost averaging for a minute. But as far as this trade is concerned, I'm still happy with it overall, especially with this nice little bounce. The big issue, of course, is what happens with the CPI and the inflation data coming out tomorrow. Because what we're battling right now, of course, is on the 4-hour chart. You can see this little bit of level of resistance right here. You know, just that little bit of a tip. Nothing too crazy. MACD, of course, and RSI and everything is looking pretty good. But we have to battle the 50 moving average on the 4-hour chart. I don't think that's the biggest thing for me. Look at that. It's the 200 on the daily chart. We broke down below it. You saw how much force it was required to do that. If we're lucky, we'll have a bounce, and maybe that bounce can keep things going a little bit more sideways here. I don't anticipate some rapid move up to $100,000 anytime soon, but getting back up to maybe 90,000, maybe even 95,000, maybe that will give us an opportunity to consolidate long enough for Bitcoin to have a change in tone. I don't know what you want to call it, where people start to get more excited about it. People start like, okay, we can buy back into a little bit more right now. But that's not just a Bitcoin issue, is it? That's more of a market issue, what's happening in the world. And that's why everybody's like freaking out right now, just because everything's so chaotic here. Let me go back over here very fast. So, okay. Now that we're kind of done with that, a little bit of technical analysis, we'll break down Ethereum and other stuff in a little bit. You can still see we're in that downtrend here, but we have an opportunity with CPI to break out of it. That's the big goal for today's video, right? Or today's stream. How do we get out of this mess? Because it is a mess. We know inflation is supposed to be set at 2.9% tomorrow, 2.9%. Oh, we've been going up since September, higher. If we can finally bounce back down a little bit, despite all the tariff stuff, you know, I don't think Jerome Powell has too much of a stick to walk on, whatever the phrase is, to say, hey, we need to like not cut rates. I think if we start having lower inflation despite all the tariff talk, to me that's a big warning sign that we should have already been cutting rates. But I think you guys need to understand, this is Trump's first inflation report where it actually matters for him, because the last one from February, he was only president for like 10 days in January, so he didn't really have much of an impact. And even the one right now, he doesn't even have much of a major impact, to be honest. But because of how much he's been in the news, he's been talking about tariffs and everything like that, this opens the door for him to have more of an effect. Where normally presidents kind of keep their mouth shut about the economy for the most part, maybe a deal here or there. You know, this one's going to be much more blah, 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 blah. Everybody's going to be pointing at Trump saying you did a great job or you did a terrible job. One way or the other, it's going to matter here. It's going to matter quite a bit. Now, CNBC put out an article. I'm just going to briefly go through it very fast. With concerns running high that President Donald Trump's tariff policies will aggravate inflation, a report Wednesday could deliver some mildly encouraging news. The Consumer Price Index for February is a forecast to show an increase of 0.3%. We just talked about that. On a broad array of goods and things like that. But they're looking at 2.9%, right? And the core looking at 3.2, both a 0.1 percentage point lower than January. If we can get lower, everybody gets very excited. If we're, again, like maybe at 2.8, which is even low, 2.7, I think that'd be a huge sign that things can go forward, and Jerome Powell can start to open up his charitable heart to start cutting rates for us, because as I make fun of him all this week, he keeps on saying the economy is good. And the economy is not good. The economy is not good at all. And I don't know why he keeps saying that, because it's a lie. But he lied about the transitory thing as well. There came a point where he knew it was no longer transitory, and he kept on saying transitory. So it's not above Jerome Powell to lie to the American people, lie to the media, lie to me and you. All right, he's not above lying to keep his job a little bit more cushy and safe. Everybody does it. He's just he's like everybody else. All right. Now, this is what I thought was very interesting today. I think maybe some good news here, although I don't think it really had time to marinate and really affect the market on the downward trend when they were announced. But Trump says he's not going to impose 50% Canadian steel aluminum tariffs tomorrow, says Trump's top trade advisor. Basically, this wasn't even supposed to happen in the first place. But Canada, one of the Canadian, I think we would call probably their version of a governor, was saying how he's going to put taxes on stuff, electricity going to the United States, like an extra tax. And then Trump was like a sassy black woman, oh, hell no, and then put these tariffs on there. And then what was crazy is the Canadians folded so freaking fast, not even like hours. They folded that fast, and now they're going to try to come to some new deal or something like that. But damn, it was crazy. There was a lot of huff and puff, chests, I'm a man, blah, 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 from the Canadians, and same with us over here with Trump. Madness. Absolute madness. That being said, there is no tariffs happening tomorrow extra on Canada, which I think is some good news. If you guys want to read this one, it's actually pretty crazy. I would actually say for most of you guys, just go watch a TikTok video, go look for it on X. It's hilarious how fast the guy folded when this was put in front of him, because again, Trump was about to decimate the entire auto industry in Canada, and he could have plunged them into some really severe economic harm. And normally we don't do that to our allies, right? Like Canada and Mexico. But Trump is not playing around right now, and he will respond forcefully if provoked. Although, again, Trump is the one provoking from the beginning, so it makes a little bit more of a tit for tat type of thing. But I think it's important that other countries realize we're still America. Our economy can usually, unless it's like China or something, can really cause you some massive harm if you try to play games with us. Same with Mexico, same with anybody in Latin America, even with the EU. If you want to play with us, we will do the rough and tumble. And the EU can hurt us, but not really that much compared to how much we can hurt the EU, which is going to be very significant here, right? Especially since the EU is going to need to, how should I say this in a nice way? They're going to need to spend a lot more money for the defense. They're going to need strong economies funding all of that new expansion in their military industrial complexes. If they don't have that, that means more debt. More debt is a bad thing for Europe because they're not used to having that crazy amount of debt. So if they start to go through their own debt spiral, they don't have the dollar as the reserve currency, so they can't do all the stupid stuff we do. They just can't. They just cannot. We hit that Tesla bull at 660 into 8. I don't. Oh, ETF. I was like $6 Tesla. Yeah. I bought some Tesla actually yesterday. Hit one of my limit orders, and I bought a little bit more today. I'm holding it for a while. I'm hoping it can have a stronger rebound, but it's to me, Tesla's like a thing I want to hold for months, because again, I don't swing trade it, because Tesla swing trading and me just don't do well. But long-term investing Tesla, yeah, it usually pays off. It usually pays off for me. Now, here's gonna be the first video. This is just talking about everything we just talked about here. It is very It is very, very interesting. Let me turn the YouTube one on here very fast. There we go. Scratch my ear very fast. I think this headphones are itchy.
Lows. In fact, the NASDAQ, how many are positive right now? Megan Casella is at the White House for the details on two developing stories, Megan, that have improved sentiment on Ukraine and on Canada.
Absolutely, Kelly. A lot of moving pieces here. First, on Canada, we're hearing from Ontario Premier Doug Ford. We knew that he had a call scheduled today with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. That was the level of communication, even though President Trump was not speaking with the Prime Minister. Ford and Lutnick have now put out a joint statement saying that they have agreed to meet in person 2 days from now on Thursday to discuss a renewed USMCA, and they're doing that ahead of the April 2nd reciprocal tariff deadline. Canada also says that Ontario has agreed to suspend its 25% surcharge on exports of electricity to Michigan, New York, and Minnesota. So a potential breakthrough there, Kelly. What we don't know for certain yet is whether the White House will lower those 50% tariffs that they're threatening back to 25%.
They did. There's no, we just watched that article. I already deleted it, but we did. So yeah, there's not going to be any future hostilities here for a little bit.
Or at least take the threat off the table of going to 50% in exchange for this. But we do know it was the electricity, the threats of electricity getting cut off that led President Trump to make that threat earlier today. We can hope or we'll keep an eye on whether now he will remove that threat, given that Canada, Ontario has now taken that threat off of the table. Doug Ford, the Ontario Premier, is continuing to talk with reporters now. He says that Lutnick reached out and offered this as an olive branch, but that if these tariffs are in place, Ottawa will respond dollar for dollar. So some tensions continuing, but a potential breakthrough there. At the same time, Kelly, that Secretary of State Marco Rubio is in Saudi Arabia saying that the Ukrainians have agreed to a ceasefire. Crucially, they still have to bring this potential deal to Russia, but a potential breakthrough there as well, Kelly. So
again, a lot of stuff going on. And this is that article right here. Ukraine agrees to U.S.-led ceasefire plan if Russia accepts. Basically, America, Ukraine, we're back to being a little buddy-buddy. Now we're both going to go after Russia. All Ukraine had to do was, like, take some humble pie and be like, hey, America, you're the leader. We're, like, subservient. Which was never really in doubt, which is why I'm confused why Ukraine, like, acted like it was such a tough guy. Ukraine did not have the cards, as I guess President Trump had to say, because Zelensky had to like apologize, like publicly apologize, which is crazy. Like that, for somebody with an ego, which is every presidential candidate, every leader of every country has an ego. That was insane to have to publicly apologize. Now, this to me is just another big, what do you want to call this? Another big good news event for us. I think that shows things are getting a little bit better, and you saw how Bitcoin was able to react to that. Again, we could have kept on falling today. The market could have kept on falling today. But if you go look at a bunch of other stuff here, let me get out of inflation and this other stuff. If you went over to the NASDAQ today, 15-minute chart, we didn't close at the lows. We managed to have a nice strong bounce towards the end of the day. And of course, we came back down a little bit more, but that's more of a CPI thing here. But we managed to have a nice bounce, and everybody was like, oh shit, everything's been dropping for a while. Maybe we should buy a little bit. But again, we've had these moments before, and we've fallen before, so don't get too hyped up about this. But what we're seeing is maybe just a little bit of consolidation, and maybe that consolidation can help us a little bit. In the scheme of things, not much has changed from the stock market. In the scheme of things, though, for Bitcoin, we have an opportunity here to have a breakout. The NASDAQ is trying to do that. It just got hit so hard. You know what I mean? It just got hit so hard because NVIDIA was having a terrible roll of their GPUs, and they just looked a little bit rough there. Looked a little bit rough, just a tad, right? So, with all that news being said, though, futures are higher. That's good for Bitcoin. Maybe at when the CPI is announced, we should see perhaps a nice little strong bounce in the morning. Again, we have to anticipate the CPI being good, though. That's the issue here. But if you guys wake up in the morning and you're thinking, oh my God, I woke up late, what is the CPI? If you see it on TikTok or X, whatever, you're hoping for a number that's 2.9% or lower. If it's higher than that, we're probably going to have some concerns unless there was some type of surprise in the core CPI that we didn't really foresee. So we could have an okay CPI, a really good core CPI, and that should still make things go higher for us. However, if we have a good or an okay CPI of 2.9 and a high core CPI, the market would probably fluctuate and probably even go down off of that. So just be aware of what the core CPI is as well, which I think is supposed to be at 3.2%, I believe, 3.2%. All right. Any other news that I want to talk to you about here? Oh, yeah. Education department prepares to lay off roughly half its staff. I'm not going to talk about that because it's not really crypto or like related to me. But damn, that's going to be another big thing here. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not, but it's going to be massive. There's like big change coming here. Big change. Now this is another video, nice and easy. Fun Stretch Tom Lee says yesterday's sell-off was an overreaction. I hope it was, because like many of you, I bought the dip, and sometimes buying the dip can be kind of rough, right? Did I click the right one? That is the... Oh, no. There you go. I didn't even mean to do that. There
Welcome.
You go.
Yeah, great to see you.
Why do you say overreaction?
Trump has all the Uno cards.
Yesterday really was an indiscriminate selling day. Did Tesla's valuation and fundamentals drop 15%? You know, did the broad market have a 4% decline in valuations? To us, it really looked like a lot of liquidation. I think investors are, of course, reacting to the White House warning of pain ahead, but it has been more of an equity sell-off than it has been in corporate bonds. So to us, 4% down days, yeah, I think it's an overreaction.
Yeah, how do you best explain that difference between what equities have done and what we've seen in IG and even high yield?
Well, I think on the stock side, markets are now saying, look, the new regime is we have to take the tariffs seriously. Now we don't know how long these tariffs might be. Will it hurt growth? And we've seen cuts from economists. But the bond market is saying, well, you know what? This is a growth scare. But the Fed is also now in a position to begin cutting because inflation.
Boom. Hear that? Hear that? Hear that? Hear that? Hear that? Did you hear that? Let me replay that very fast.
Scare. But the Fed is also now in a position to begin cutting because inflation pressures are abating. So I think the bond market is sort of pricing in a Fed put. The stock market saying, I'm not sure if there's a White House put, and then the Fed's on hold, and I think that's the divergence.
So which?
Boom. Now, it is a divergence. So again, you have uncertainty, and that uncertainty is usually why you sell. But it is opening the door for the Fed to come in and start cutting rates. The issue is Jerome Powell keeps on saying the economy is good. No, it freaking isn't. It's just not. I don't know if any of you guys live in a city or a rural town, whatever. The economy is not good right now. I would say it's fair to poor. I wouldn't say it's terrible. I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't call it good, though. I wouldn't even call it okay. I'd call it fair or fair/poor, right? So careful with that. But yeah, I'm curious to see what you guys think about that.
One should we be listening to?
Well, I think the Fed put, in fact, is probably coming back because the odds of a May cut have been inching up. They hit 54% yesterday. And in fact, total cuts hit 3.5 cuts, which is now 2.5 or 1.5 more than the Fed's guided. But I think that the Trump put exists. I mean, I know they've explicitly said there isn't one, but look at yesterday. Tesla's down 15%, and on Truth Social, Donald Trump talks about Tesla. So I think a put exists. We just don't know the level when the White House intervenes, and then today's the Business Roundtable. We'll find out.
He does, but then he kind of ratchets up the dialogue as it pertains to the trade war this morning on Truth Social, regardless of all of the headlines surrounding tariffs and the trade war and what it means for growth and what it means for the market reaction.
That's right. And for a while, markets ignored the...
Just look at Tesla's chart right there. God, it looks so bad. But I bought it there. Larry bought some XX bull ETFs there. Wish us luck.
Those tariff headlines, and now they're taking it very seriously. But I think at the end of the day, if we take every headline at face value, then markets are completely paralyzed. And of course, that again creates opportunity because at some level, all these stocks are really attractive opportunities, you know, especially something that's had a 50% drawdown.
I mean, you can talk about the NASDAQ being an overreaction at a 4% down day, but Tesla was up $500 billion in 2 months at the end of last year. I mean, was that an overreaction to the upside? This is what we're trying to figure out, right?
Yeah.
Where do we start out with in terms of valuation and investor expectations coming into this period when it's become a little bit more noisy?
Yeah, well,
Definitely a lot more noisy right now. I'm just pausing because I have to, otherwise YouTube gets mad at me for playing so long of a video here. Bitcoin's pumping, of course it's pumping. We were talking about it having an opportunity here to push up and hit some resistance levels. And hey, SPF, happy to see my man. Oh, and hey, Villa, happy to see you as well. Villa, my computer went black screen for the first time, like right before I started the stream. And today, funny enough, as far as the computer stuff goes, it had a white screens for the first time. White screens is a new one. So it's going to be a fun time getting a new computer there. My mom said I have until the end of the month to move out the house because I bought the dip. Oh, man. The trick is to convince your mother to buy the dip with you so you guys can share the pain and bond over it. That's the key here. That's the key.
there used to be this term a while ago called rage selling, and I think these days with instant liquidity, markets have rage selling. And I think it's not just individual. I think institutions push a button and go flat. So I think that, we're getting whipsawed these days. And I don't know where to titrate that. Like, was Tesla worth double what it was compared to November, and now is it worth half? I'm not sure, but I think it's somewhere in between.
Meantime, there's
Which
still
means
a
it
lot
should
of
be
desk
higher.
notes about CTA supply and the next 5 days. There's plenty to sell.
Okay, we don't need to watch the rest of that, but that was the important stuff, right? Now, here's the big thing. The Trump roundtable. This is going to be something where we just chill and listen to him. I don't think this is going to be too much of an issue because a lot of people have this, not just CNBC, so I should be able to play this for a while without having any issues. And then we're just going to have one more little video talking about the news as far as the House passing the bill to fund the government. So it should be pretty fun here. What I'm going to do, actually, though, is move this over here so I can read your comments a little bit easier. I don't have my teleprompter on, so I can't read your comments like by looking directly at you guys right now. It's time to build. No, I'm not even doing. I'm paying somebody to build it. I don't have the time for it. I don't care about it anymore. I'm just so pissed off at everything to do with computers. Yeah, literally. I think I'm gonna pay some people up in Seattle, I think, to do it. My grandmother might do it for me as a gift because I'm gonna help her out this somewhat some stuff. So I might just let my grandmother pay for it because I'm going to be paying her a lot more money with some fun stuff that I'm going to be doing to one of her houses. So we'll see. But yeah, oh god, it's just going to be a crazy time. Yeah, don't even care about computers anymore. This computer sucks. All computers suck. I fucking hate computers. It's too much of a stressful little thing to deal with. But also, I was able to play my game for like 13 seconds today, or I was able to play my video game for like 2 hours today straight. So I don't understand the difference. I think what I gotta do is just get a new computer, take this one for parts and see if my friends want any of these extra parts and stuff like that. Maybe sell at a discount or something. Who knows? But it's just not working for me.
And then the people in this room, we're going to tie us back together. The people in this room obviously are very interested in all the conversations going on around trade and tariffs that are important here. And then you've also had a large-scale effort to root out wasteful spending in the federal government. And I believe there's a thread that kind of ties all that together, and I'm just curious if you could share with us what that is.
Well, it's basically make America great again. We have a bloated, very dishonest, in many cases, federal government and bureaucracy that's been a long time coming. Somebody should have done this many years ago. And we're cutting numbers that nobody's ever seen before. Doge, as we call it, affectionately. You've been all hearing that term a lot. Elon's been doing really a fantastic job. He suffers a little bit because of it. People go after him, but actually, I think in the end it'll maybe reverse itself and be just the opposite. That's happened before. There's people that they tend to go after one group or another, but basically it's the other. They go after conservatives, and when somebody stands up and fights, their business ends up doubling. You can see that. Just a little example. Goya Foods, he was just a wonderful man, the owner and the family, and largely Hispanic foods. And they went after him because he supported me. And this was.
So this is live. You guys are good. So you see a little bit of revenge in how Trump is operating here, right? But again, he started off with making America great again, America first type of stuff, which means that he's more focused about building the jobs back here, even if it does mean that things are going to get rough in the short term here. That's going to be pretty darn interesting. And hey, Saul, yeah, this was a newer computer. Villa helped me out, actually fixed it up a little bit, but it fixed it up for like a week, and then I went to Best Buy and they fixed it up for 3 days, and then it just kind of breaks, and I'm tearing my hair out here, and I think I'm just going to throw money at the problem. I'm not even going to have it, I'm not even going to build it, not going to buy the parts, not going to do anything like that. I'm going to go pay somebody a premium, this place like up in Seattle or one of these websites. I'll show you maybe them later on. I don't even care if they're upcharging me like 100% or some shit. I'm just going to pay to get some really good stuff. That's what we'll do at the end of the stream here if my computer doesn't break while streaming. Like literally my computer went black screen and shut off 2 minutes before I went live. So I had to reboot very fast, put everything back up. Luckily, Google has the streams in it. The Google didn't, or Chrome didn't close down properly. Do you want to refresh all the tabs? Thank God. But yeah, it's been a freaking nightmare. So I'm not even going to worry about it anymore. as long as this computer is like working like this right now, I'll be fine. But I'm in the meantime, I am just going to pay somebody to build me a new computer, and I'm just going to have be the best, not worry about it. I'll be fine. But I've been like wanting to punch a fucking wall. It's been that bad.
The end of the first term, and he fought back, and it ended up that he ended up tripling his business, and it's today a much bigger business than it was before. And there are many examples of that, and maybe it's going to be that way with Elon. When I saw what was happening with this, the concerted effort by Page.
No, Trump isn't live. Sorry, this is a YouTube video. You can see right here. You see my mouse. Oh, you guys can't see the mouse for whatever reason. Oh, interesting. But yeah, this is a video. We're looking at Bitcoin trying to break out here, hitting resistance. Probably won't hit for a minute. If I was a betting man, I'd be like, watch out for that breakdown there. Then come early morning, around here. Oh no, we might actually have a breakout early morning. Yeah, a little bit morning. CPI comes out around there, so it has some time to cook. But yeah, we're just listening to Trump right now at this business roundtable. We're just trying to figure out what exactly is going on through his head with these tariffs. And usually it's better to hear it from Trump than try to like hear it NBC host, a CNN host, a Fox host. They spin it for their own needs on media. It's just better to hear Trump say it himself.
I think they're paid agitators. And when I saw what was happening, I said, I want to buy a Tesla. And we just went to the front. He had 4 beautiful cars there. And
actually, let's go to X. Let's see. Explore. Oh no, it's right there. Yeah, here we go. You can see literally in front of the White House, you got Teslas lined up here. Look at that. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. We're not going to dive deep into it, but it was very crazy.
I bought one in front of the press. It was a very public purchase, and they're beautiful and do a great job. Very good competitors with Mary and everybody else. He's done a great job, and he shouldn't be sacrificed or have to suffer because he wants to help government. It's not that he's a Republican, which he's, not the strong. I mean, sometimes I'm not even sure what he is in terms of his philosophies, but he's a great guy. He's a patriot.
I like Goya because the Goya guy is a big, he just likes to make money. Democrat, Republican, he'll lobby you and he'll make money off of both of you.
He wants to see the country straightened out, and he's done a fantastic job with those. We've found massive fraud, abuse, waste, and we had many jobs where there was nobody working but getting a check. We had contracts that expired years ago, but they were continuously being paid. Probably, I'll bet you it's $500 billion, perhaps, if you add it up so far. And we're trying to get to $1 trillion. That's a big number. And he did have an ability to do something that a lot of people didn't think of. He'd come in with bigger ideas. We'd say, we want you to cut down the size of your agency by 2%. And we thought that was good. He came in, he said 80%. I said, what the hell's going on? 80%. And largely, I mean, we had to do it carefully, and we had some little hiccups, not big hiccups. But we saved a tremendous amount of money for the future. This is going into the future. And in some cases, it would be 80, and in some cases, it would be 5% or 2% or 3%, depending on the agency. And you can almost, you're all great professionals, the top, and you can almost look at some of the agencies and see which ones had to be cut and which ones didn't. Also, in terms of their importance. And
oddly enough, I was hoping to hear about tariffs. Now all I'm hearing about is stuff I don't give a shit about. But we'll persevere.
In terms of being current. So we saved a tremendous amount of money. And I think, I don't know if it's going to reach $1 trillion, but it's going to reach a lot. And it was an honor to have Michael there yesterday. You got to see a little bit of it. We had a conference. And a lot of investment coming into our country, much more than I've ever seen. Apple is investing $500 billion. IBM was with us yesterday, and they're investing a lot. Just companies all over. I could name them. You've read most of them, many of them. But hundreds of billions of dollars is being invested. That wouldn't have happened if I didn't win the election, number one. And I think, number two, the tariffs are having a tremendously positive impact. They will have, and they are having. We have car companies that are not building in Mexico now. They're building in the United States. Some of them, the plants were already started, and they stopped construction, and now they're going to build in the United States. It was very unfair that They'd build in Mexico and sell them across the border with no tax, no nothing. They'd take away our jobs. They'd close up places in Michigan and all over the country, and they'd build them in Mexico. In many cases, they were owned by China. Built in Mexico, owned by China. And that's all stopped now. They're all coming here. Honda is building a massive plant in different places, Indiana, South Carolina.
Okay, I literally like read the script and went deep into this. Like, you guys can't tell, but maybe if I do this, like, see that I read ahead of while he was talking, and he doesn't talk about anything important as far as I'm concerned. It was just mumbo jumbo. It's not mumbo jumbo. It's a philosophy that he has of how he wants the country to run, and I get it, but it's not tariff related, so I'm just going to skip the rest of it. And here's the last big video I think that's you guys should actually care about, and this was just about the House passing the bill to fund the government until September 30th. And there was like one holdout on the Republican side. He's a good guy as far as I know, but definitely Trump got pissed off by him. But
on the House vote for a funding bill to avert a government shutdown, Emily Wilkins got the details. Emily.
Hey, Melissa. Well, the House has now passed a bill that will keep the government funded until at least September 30th, doing that with nearly all Republicans voting for it, plus one Democrat as well. The only Republican to vote no is Thomas Massie. And look,
they got a Democrat. It's now bipartisan. Wow.
Look, Melissa, this was a very difficult vote for a number of Republicans. They don't like voting for continuing funding. They wanted to find ways to reduce it. But many of them got personal assurances from Trump and Trump's team that if they made this vote now, they would be able to vote for reduced funding and larger cuts further down the road. Now, of course, this is going to the Senate, and the game changes there. In the House, we were all watching Republicans. In the Senate, a handful of Democrats are going to have to join Republicans if they want to pass a bill. The question, of course, is if Democrats decide to use this moment and a potential shutdown for leverage for things that they might want or reassurances about DOJ and Trump and the cuts in the government, or whether they will go along because they don't want to be seen as shutting the government down. We know at least one Democratic Senator, John Fetterman, does plan to vote for it. And I'm also hearing right now that Jared Golden was the one in the House, the one Democrat who actually voted for this continuing funding. And he is from a very moderate district. He has a lot of Republican constituents there, a lot of independent constituents.
We don't have a lot of moderate people out there anymore because of gerrymandering, but it's still interesting news. So right now we can see Bitcoin got rejected here after trying to break out again. We're currently consolidating and making a good move here, which looks pretty nice. But I think ultimately everything that we see happening from a big breakout or a big breakdown, both of those are going to be happening. Let me take off the YouTube. There you go. Both of these things are going to be happening based off of what we see from CPI data. If we have 2.9% or lower, along with a good core CPI to back it up, we will go higher and we will probably break out to the high 80s. If we have a bad CPI report, we will most likely go back down to the high 70s, probably like maybe 77, 78,000 bucks. And then once that happens, the momentum will shift again and we may get pushed back into the very low 70s. So that means around $75,000, $74,000. The last few months, CPI has been pretty accurate, so if we can continue that trend of being a little bit more accurate here, I think we're going to be in a good spot. The only reason I'm so concerned about this is because we still don't know what all these conversations about tariffs, everything about tariffs, what it's really done to the economy and inflation. Right now, that being said, I literally bought the dip. I bought it, so I'm in. Right now I'm making money, but I could easily turn around and lose money tomorrow if we have bad CPI report. So I will tell this to you guys that bought yesterday along with me. Right now, you guys are in profit. Bitcoin's up a few percent, but a lot of your altcoins may be up 10, 15% right now after the big bounces they had. If you guys want to scale out, now is an opportunity. If you guys want to wait for larger profits, you can definitely hold. I'm just saying, don't forget the fact that you're up 10% while maybe your overall portfolio has been going down because Bitcoin's been going up. You guys are up in a trade right now, so be safe with the money you have. I'm not scaling out. I'm not a smart individual sometimes, but if I was a new investor, I might at least consider it, okay? Just because we're putting a lot of faith in the CPI, and putting a lot of faith in the CPI is going to be rough, right? So look at Ethereum. Ethereum has bounced off a little bit, but you see the same trend where we're basically looking for an opportunity to have a breakdown here, okay? These breakdowns are going to be impactful because we're still in that bearish mode. Everybody still wants to short and not necessarily go long. So until we have that CPI report, it could be a very rocky night for people. So just be aware of that. I mean, look at it. It's the same thing over and over again. Trump token, Dogecoin, Melania. What the fuck happened to Melania? Oh my god. Yeah, not sure what happened to Melania. But yeah, that's Melania. With Bonk, Mirror, you can see that same general trend happening right now. So, we may consolidate. We may just make another big higher low, if you will. But again, just think about it a little bit. The dollar index is still doing okay. We're coming down bit by bit. Nothing crazy there. I do believe if we have good inflation, you will see this drop like a rock tomorrow, which would be absolutely fantastic for us. But the stock market still down. NASDAQ still down. Dow Jones still down. Gold teetering. It was actually going high for a while, but it just kind of gave up a little bit more. So relax. Enjoy the rest of your night. I'm going to go drink some tequila with some friends and then mourn my bank account, which is probably going to be hit by a like $5,500 to $6,000 charge for a new computer, which will be absolutely fantastic, by the way. Or I have to call my grandmother and say, hey, did you want to really buy my $5,000 computer? Because she might assume a computer that I'm buying maybe like $2,000, so you never know, right? I probably just buy the computer and says, hey, take me out to dinner sometime or like that. So see you guys a little bit later. Yeah, poor Melania. Melania is not in good shape. It's not in good shape at all. But I will probably buy some eventually once I feel the market's better, because I just want to be that guy that owns like $1,000 of Melania and it goes to the moon. I'm like, Melania. I just don't know enough about Melania Trump. I just don't know her. I don't see her anywhere. I think that's her by her design, of course, but still. So see you guys a little bit later. I'm gonna go drink some tequila. I'm gonna go smoke a cigar to relax. And God, pray for my sanity right now, because this computer, it worked fine for this stream, but literally decided when I wasn't streaming, wasn't putting strain on the computer, it would like kill the monitors. Poof, just like that. Pray for me.